we do have NBA free agency coming up, and there's some pretty big players in the space. Starting at number one with Paul George, number one free agent this offseason. Apparently, him and the Clippers are two sailing ships in the night passing away, and they're not close right now. And it's looking like Paul George could potentially relocate somewhere else. A lot of people are saying Philadelphia, which I think is propaganda from Joel Embiid, and I think it's propaganda from Stephen A. Smith because he used to work in Philadelphia and he always, for some reasons, like, oh, everyone's interested in the Knicks and Philadelphia. I'm like, that's interesting. But yeah, Paul George, where do you think he goes, and do you think there's a chance he still stays with the Clippers?
I don't think he stays with the Clippers. I think their time has come. It's been kind of a letdown in LA. I know that they made that Western Conference Finals once, but other than that, it's been a lot of playoff failures. And Kawhi's getting older, James Harden's getting older, Russell Westbrook's getting older. I think he sees that as an opportunity to leave. Now, Lakers fans are going to say that they're going to get Paul George and LeBron James and all these other players this offseason, but Paul George, if he wants to stay in LA, maybe he takes a shorter deal with the Lakers. For him, he probably looks at it as an opportunity to get his last big contract. So, a team with cap space, I think that maybe a team, I think Cleveland would be an interesting fit with him potentially, depending on how their cap space looks. But I think he should go out east. And I think maybe it's Miami if they want to keep Jimmy Butler. He goes out there. Reunites with the Pacers potentially. Those are three fits that I think that make sense. I think he should definitely go out east though, because it looks like it's a an easier path to the finals.
Yeah, and I think there's only one team in the West that he could win the finals on if he signs there, which would be the Golden State Warriors. Because if the Warriors are not close with Clay Thompson really hasn't looked like himself recently. And you want kind of a number, I don't know, at this point in Paul George's career, I kind of think of him as a 3A, maybe a 2B, because everyone's enamored with Paul George. You have people in the media still talking about how he's the most underrated player in the NBA, but in Indiana, he was never able to go out there and get it done. He made it to the conference championship twice, and people still acted like treated him better than they treated Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown for getting to the conference championship. Then we see him go to Oklahoma City. What happens there? Oh, you lost to Donovan Mitchell, I believe, as a rookie with
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert as the second guy on that team. And then we've seen him get to the Clippers, and he went to the conference championship once. And somehow that's more valuable than Jason Tatum getting there six times in his career. So I really don't think Paul George is this master game changer for someone's team. And I think the only team that could really bring that out of him is the Golden State Warriors. And then say he goes to Cleveland, okay, he would still be the second option on that team. And then you'd have Donovan Mitchell there. So I think, okay, you'd probably be still right around the same spot you are, but you're not getting over the hump and getting to the NBA finals. And then the Knicks, Paul George with Tom Thibodeau, with Paul George's recent injury history, I just don't think that would work.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think him going to those teams that I had mentioned earlier are going to get him over the hump. I just think those are teams that fit him well at this point. If he wants to compete for a title, I think the East is probably going to be easier for him. Um, Other than that, like the West, it's like you mentioned the Warriors. Other than that, like maybe the Thunder, who don't have a lot of big contracts. He reunites with them, but at this point, Paul George is 34 years old. He's been in the league since we were children at this point, and I don't think he moves the needle like the way the media is talking about. He's
No.
played. He's had a lot of injuries. He's had a number of different knee injuries, and even with the Clippers, when Kawhi Leonard's out, like Paul George has shown not to be as consistent as he once was. I still think he's a great player. He's going to help a team definitely, but I don't think he's going to make any team a championship contender overnight, unless if it's already a championship contender that he joins. That just makes them a little bit better, but there's not really any team that I think he can do that with.
Yeah, and I think he should be on a championship team, probably your third option, because he'll have like two games where he shows up, but we've seen consistently that when you need him the most, he's not going to be there. And it's almost as bad as James Harden, but James Harden gets roasted because I don't know, he's had much better historic regular seasons and he's had some better playoff runs than Paul George, but they both had massive meltdowns where they just disappear. So I think maybe he goes to the Warriors. If he goes somewhere out east, it's probably going to be to maximize his contract, but he's probably going to stay on the West Coast. And I think he's mostly going to pick lifestyle and the most amount of money because I don't think he's winning a championship. And if you're going to max him out, then your team's probably not going to win a championship either.